All right, everybody, welcome. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite classic novels. Now, the only rule I had for this list was the classic novel had to have been written before 1900. So 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, whatever, those count. Anything from 1900 on didn't count. So then I started compiling my top 10. And as you know, if you followed my reviews, you're just like, Durfee can't keep it to top 10 because he's going to see a bunch of other books that should be in the top 10. So he'll do a top 15. Well, that doesn't happen either. He's like, oh my gosh, but what about all these other books? And so it ends up always being, my top 10 lists always end up being a top 20 list. So let's get to my top 10/20 classic novels. And let's start with, coming in at number 21, Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The entire set of Sherlock Holmes mysteries. I dig these books. They're very well written, very, very cleverly written. I especially love the first novel that he wrote about Sherlock Holmes that took place in Utah amongst the polygamists. Wasn't expecting that. Coming in at number 20. Okay, now we're down to 20. Coming in at number 20 is a couple more books. Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. I had to include both because I basically think they're both the same kind of story. They're both the same story, really. And plus, I've been to the Mark Twain house in Hartford, Connecticut, and that thing is dope if you want to go there. Number 20, Mark Twain. Number 19, what have we got at number 19? Let's see. David Copperfield, Charles Dickens. Just a great coming-of-age tale told in the dregs of society, and then it moves up in society, and it's just kind of like, it reminds us it's kind of like what Pat Rothfuss did with The Name of the Wind. He almost kind of copied David Copperfield a little bit. But I like this. I've got a lot of Charles Dickens books in my library of classics, and not my favorite classic writer, but one of his books did slip in. Or is there more? We'll see. Number 18. Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Fyodor Dostoevsky, by the way. I actually have a character in one of my own novels. It's actually not a character. It's a place on the map called Fyodor, just because of Dostoevsky. Crime and Punishment, about murder gone wrong, about, it's a crime and punishment. I love the Russian novelists. Will there be more Russian classics on my list? Wait and see. Cervantes' Don Quixote. This book is bananas. I don't know how else to describe this thing other than it is straight wacky, bonkers, nutso bananas. It's just this dude doing crazy stuff nonstop. It's just one crazy event. It's like the Jackass. It's like Jackass of the 16th century is what it is. You remember that show, Jackass? That's kind of what Don Quixote is. He's just kind of like the Jackass. Just doing one dumb thing after another. But for being written so long ago, it's actually pretty entertaining. Like, it wears on you a little bit because it's the same repetitive joke for 1,000 pages. Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. Oh, this is just a delicious, delicious novel, dripping in Victorian flavor, just about society and money and people's lust for money and fame and fortune and status. It's a great book. I love the way this one's written too. Vanity Fair. Let's get into my top 15 now. Tess of the Dubervilles. Man, this is one grim downer of a book. But the thing is I love the way Thomas Hardy writes. I love this. This book starts out grim, it starts out on a downer, and then it just goes down from there. to the very end. It never gives you hope. I don't know why I like it. I love Thomas Hardy's writing. I actually relate to Thomas Hardy's writing almost more than any of the other writers on my list here, except for one, and we'll get to that one. But I love Thomas Hardy's writing, and this was the first Thomas Hardy book I ever read, so I got to give it a little bit of a shout out. Will there be more Thomas Hardy books? We shall see. I think we're number 14. Yes, Pride and Prejudice. Jane Austen. I like these. I actually like Jane Austen. I think she's a good writer. I think she spins a good tale. And who doesn't like Mr. Darcy? I don't care for that soul that much, but I know that all the ladies like Mr. Darcy. I think he's a bit of a douche, but you know, all the ladies really want Mr. Darcy. God, is Mr. Darcy even in this fucking book? Yes, he is. I got it right. God, I had a brain fog for a second. 13, Les Mortes d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory. Oh yes, this is the book from whence every King Arthur legend sprang. This thing is good. This thing reads like it's like King Arthur written in the King James version of the Bible language. If you can take it, it's actually all right. It's actually all right. Where are we at now? Number 12? Number 12, man. We're moving up. Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Dumas. Alexander Dumas. Dumas. Alexander Dumas. You know, a lot of people probably thought this would be, you know, since I work in the prisons. You know, I tell you, I work in the... Those of you who follow my channel, you know I work at the Utah State Prison. Have done for 13 years. Y'all probably would have thought this would be ranked higher than 12. But it's a decent like little prison escape, you know. It ain't no Shawshank Redemption by Stephen King. I'll tell you that right now. Ivanhoe. Oh, yeah, I read this in high school for my high school paper. Sir Walter Scott Ivanhoe. Dude, this got knights, this got archers, this got castles, this got damsels in distress in a castle towers. This got everything. It's got like jousting and all that kind of... I mean, this is actually a badass little adventure story. Sir Thomas... No, not Sir Thomas. That was Thomas Hardy. Sir Walter Scott. Sir Walter Scott. The Scottish writer. He wrote Rob Roy, too. Rob Roy. I don't think it's Rob Roy. Rob Roy? Les Mis. Les Mis by Victor Hugo. Yeah, man, I saw this at the, on Broadway. I saw this on Broadway in New York City. What I remember of the show was there's a big barricade scene, and the main actor was on top of the barricade, and the main actor slipped and fell down the barricade. He ragdolled down the barricade, clear to the stage floor, and everybody was like, oh my God, we just saw a man die. And he sprang back up and just kept singing like nothing happened. Fucking weird was what it was. But anyway, the book is dope. I read the book after seeing the Broadway show. So, you know, hey, there you go. What can you do? Les Mis. Wuthering Heights. Oh, man, I love Wuthering Heights. This is, you know, by Bronte. This thing is just, this is Emily Bronte, right? There's the Bronte sisters. Emily Bronte. This thing is dark, grim. It's got that Southern England, just those wind-swept moors of Southern England. You just feel the atmosphere, and it's just kind of like part Victorian family drama, part, you know, haunted house drama. I mean, this is just great. I love Wuthering Heights. And not Thomas Hardy. The Hardy, the guy that was in Mad Max Beyond Fury Road. I don't think that's the name of the movie. Mad Max Fury Road. The actor that was in that actually played the main guy in Wuthering Heights in a BBC production that was pretty good. Not that you care. Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. A lot of people think that Wilkie Collins is a lady. No, it's a dude. In fact, it's a dude that was best friends with Charles Dickens. In fact, they were contemporary writers. I think that Wilkie Collins is a much better storyteller than Charles Dickens. It's just my opinion. The Moonstone, is credited as being the first ever commercially successful mystery novel of all time. If you like mysteries. Number seven. We've got another Bronte sister, this time Charlotte Bronte with Jane Eyre. This novel tickles me to pink every time I read it. I love Jane Eyre's personality. I don't know what it is. She's got like just a dry sense of humor. A lot of people think this is a lot much darker and kind of like not as much fun as, say, Jane Austen. But this Charlotte Bronte book is better written, quite frankly. I mean, the Jane Austen books are good, but this one, is, if we're talking about the same type of thing, those Victorian manor house dramas, this one is the best of the lot. Or is there one better coming up? We shall see. But Jane Eyre. My number 6th favorite classic novel is The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. No, not that. Alexandre Dumas. The Three Musketeers. I love this. This thing is quirky. I love the language of this. And it's a pretty good adventure novel too. My top five. Far from the Madding Crowd, another Thomas Hardy books. I love, like I told you, Thomas Hardy, man. He speaks to me. The style of his writing speaks to me, folks. I mean, it talks to me. I love reading his writing. The sentences and the way he puts paragraphs together and the word choices he uses. It's all up my alley. I love it. So, Far from the Madding Crowd. Oh, we're top 4 now. Top 4. Another Wilkie Collins. The Woman in White. This thing, man, oh my gosh, this thing deals a little bit with mental illness, and it's also kind of like one of those Victorian manor house dramas. And he gets, just from the very beginning, when they meet the woman in white on the road, and she's just acting a little off and crazy. I've worked in the mental health unit of the Utah State Prison for 6 years, and Wilkie Collins, he gets mental illness. She sounds like a mentally ill person. I could just picture it in my head. I loved The Woman in White. Yeah. Hey, it was in my top 5. Number 3, my third favorite classic novel of all time, Moby Dick. I don't know why, but I love books about whaling. A lot of people hate books about whaling. I just think they're fascinating. Every chapter in this book where he describes the history of whaling, how to kill a whale, how to skin a whale, how to strip the blubber out of a whale, how to harpoon a whale, how to do all of that with a whale, man, I was glued to it. I loved it. I loved it more than the story of the whale, of the white whale, of the captain trying to kill the whale. I didn't care about that. I loved the history of whaling. Moby Dick. Oh, the top 2. We're at my top 2. Top 2. Oh, here we go. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Oh, maybe you've seen my review of this already on YouTube somewhere. Oh, I just love Tolstoy. Whereas Thomas Hardy speaks to me as a writer, Tolstoy speaks to me as just a human. Because in every one of his books, he just describes the human condition in all the ways I wish I could describe it. And in Anna Karenina, it's a lot about human relationships. And man, he gets it. This dude, even back in the 1800s, he understood human relationships. And you can learn just so much from Anna Karenina. My second favorite classic novel of all time. What would be my first favorite? Well, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Like I said, this dude speaks to me. This dude's speaking my language. I don't know how this guy lived so long ago in Russia, and yet he could communicate through the generations directly to me in his writing, because this has all the human drama and relationship drama that Anna Karenina had, plus it's a badass adventure novel and a badass war novel. I mean, comparable to anything Ken Follett has written, Pillars of the Earth, anything George R.R. Martin has written Game of Thrones. I mean, this will keep you glued to your seat every bit as much as any of those adventure novels. And that is why it is my number one favorite classic novel of all time. It's nice, big, thick, juicy, great characters. I love War and Peace. That's my top 10 list, top 20 list.